How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a wonderful day. And today I wanted to give my thoughts on the second season of Peacemaker. Just real quick, my thoughts on season 1. I thought it was excellent. It was a lot better than I was expecting it to be. Peacemaker easily became one of my favorite live-action DC characters. I thought it was a really good show. The action was great. The music was good. Liked all the characters. It's a really good first season. So season 2 rolling around, it was interesting because season 1 was set in the DCEU, and then Gunn was like, oh, it makes sense when you watch season 2 how it's just in the DCU now. And by that I meant that he just retconned the Justice League cameo at the end of the first season. I'm getting ahead of myself. Point is, I really enjoyed the first season. So there will be spoilers in this, so just be aware of that. So yeah, so let's get into season 2. So as I said, really early on, this is in like the opening recap. They explain how season 2 is in the DCU and season 1 was not. By basically just retconning the Justice League cameo so that it was the Justice Gang from the Superman movie that was there, not the Snyder Justice League. And all the events from season 1 still happened. Same with from like the Suicide Squad and Creature Commandos, all that stuff, that still happens. Story this time around is that well, there's a few different storylines, but they focus us on this device that Peacemaker got from his dad, which they find out was from some alien that they came across in the woods when they're hunting once. And it can open up portals to other dimensions, which explains how there was that pocket dimension in season 1, because they had this device. And that's where like it kept his like gear and Peacemaker's gear and all that stuff. One night, when Peacemaker, or Chris, as they call him a lot more in this season, he's like really drunk and high, and he accidentally goes into a different dimension, and he sees his dad there still alive. And he quickly comes back. Cut to sometime later, he goes back to the other dimension just to like look around, and he ends up seeing his brother Keith is also still alive, and they all like share like a moment together, and as Keith and the dad go to bed, John Cena gets to flex his acting muscles and just kind of like breaks down, starts crying, and it's really well acted. Like the best part of the season, in my opinion, was John Cena's acting. Like, he is so good in this season, especially. Like, he was good in season 1, but season 2, even better. Anyway, and then as he's looking around his doppelganger's room, his doppelganger catches him and is going to shoot him. So Chris tries to get away. The doppelganger follows him and tries to kill him. And our Peacemaker accidentally kills the other one by pressing like a button on his chest, which makes his jetpack activate and goes up into some kind of like spiky thing on the ceiling, which kills him. It really messes with him. The other plot kind of going on is that after Autobio exposed Waller for the Suicide Squad stuff and like all the illegal stuff she was doing, she gets kicked out of Argus, but on her way out the door, the Peacemaker team basically they don't have jobs anymore except for Akadamos. He's the only one who still has a job. But yeah, the rest of them are out of work. And it causes a divide between Autobio and her wife. Like, they're not together anymore. Hardcore basically just spends her nights like looking for bar fights and getting her ass kicked. Peacemaker's we see him trying to join the Justice Gang and be a real hero, but they don't really let him in because he's killed a lot of people. And Vigilante's just kind of doing his thing. He still has his job. He works at a restaurant, I'm pretty sure. Amanda Waller's replacement is Rick Flag Sr., played by Frank Grillo, who we saw first in Creature Commandos. He's healed up now since his face off with Clayface. The very first thing he does when he's in charge is find out what happened to his son. And so now you know that Peacemaker's the one who killed him. So he wants Peacemaker under surveillance like 24/7, and they end up, and he kind of disguises it like, oh, because we saw this anomaly and we don't want a repeat of the Luthor incident in the Superman movie. So that's the kind of excuse he's using, but it's because he has a principal vendetta against him. And then Rick ends up getting Hardcore to try and get Chris into a trap, even though Hardcore did send him like a secret warning message, but Chris came anyway. And it's actually I like this little scene showing how smart he actually is. Like when he arrives at the park, like He, you know, like puts himself in like crowds. He like plays like soccer with kids. He like pets dogs. He makes himself part of the crowd so the sniper on the roof can't really get a clear shot. And when he actually reaches Harcourt, he immediately knows she's wearing a mic and he takes it off so they can talk. And throughout the season, we keep hearing that something happened between them on a boat. And that's pretty much what Chris is here to find out, is if it meant anything to her. But she's basically just like, no, I was drunk, it didn't really mean anything to him, or to me. And so that's kind of the last straw for Chris by that point. He was like, okay, well, I don't really have a reason to stay now. Well, then he gets taken in by Argus, and then we get this really sweet scene of Flag basically kicking the shit out of him as Chris is not fighting back at all. He's generally sorry that he killed Flag Jr. After he gets freed because John books him, he goes into the other dimension and he closes the door behind him. He leaves the device for his friends so they can give it back to Argus, they can get back into good graces. But they end up using themselves to go after him. Come to find out, as a twist everyone's kind of predicting, it's a Nazi universe. It's a universe where Nazis won World War II. And so like people of color and like gay people and religious people who aren't only, you know, like Christian, basically all get put in like work camps and shit like that, you know? So basically this other world is modern day Twitter, essentially. Come to find that out, they find Chris. They have this Harcourt and Peacemaker have this really big heart-to-heart scene where she's basically like, she's like, I'm not touching my emotions like you are. Like, I'm a fucking nightmare. And Chris basically spells out that he has feelings for her, and she's like, I'm aware, but she's like the kind of person who can't really say what she feels. You know, she's like, she bears her emotions a lot. Even though she describes herself as nightmare, Chris is like, I don't care, I still love you anyway. Yes, that's a really good scene. So they end up escaping. They get picked up by the dad and the brother. Our Peacemaker explains what happened to him. And then the dad's like, okay, you're going to round up the rest of your friends, and you're going to go back to where you came from. And Keith's really pissed, like, no, he killed Chris. Like, why were we just going to let him go? His dad's trying to put him on, keep him on the right path. He's like, vengeance is not going to bring your brother back, you know? You know, I believe him when he says he didn't intentionally try to kill him. It was an accident. Harcourt's like, oh, you're pretty generous for a Nazi. And then it's a pretty big twist. Smith's like, don't call me that. I don't agree with them. So in this universe, he's not like a super racist. He basically explains this. He's like, I'm sure wherever you come from, some kind of paradise where you fight all injustice, but I can't really fix the problems of my world. I can only fix the problems right in front of me. So I only fight like the madmen and monsters in front of me because I'm too old to do anything else really. And I really like that, you know? It's like it's a nice twist that I don't really see coming. And then he's like, and then one day when I stand before God, I hope he knows that I tried my best. And then Vigilante just comes in and fucking kills him like immediately. I don't know which Vigilante it was. I'm pretty sure it'd be the one from the other universe. Because he fucking hates Peacemaker, so he probably hates all three of them. So Keith loses it and tries to kill Chris, and then the rest of Team Peacemaker like jump on him and like start stabbing and stuff. But then John seems to have this like blood curdling like cry and like begs him to stop. And then he has his like this realization. He has this like realization that like everything he touches dies. He feels like he's cursed now because he got everyone he cared about killed pretty much except for his friends. Yeah, so they go back to the other universe. Then we get to the finale, which not a lot of people liked, and I can see why. So Chris surrenders. He sacrificed himself. He says they came back to get me. Here's the device. So he gets locked up, but then he gets bailed out, and he's like, I'm just gonna leave town. And he basically just finds a motel to stay at for a while. Autobio goes to her wife, and this is especially when they're gonna, I guess, get divorced, where it's like, if we only go with your plan, then I'm gonna feel like I'm trapped, and if we just do mine, then I feel like I'm gonna constantly be putting you in danger, so we're just not right for each other. Which is a really sad scene. Yeah, they end up using all the money the Vigilante's stolen from criminals over the years to start a business called Checkmate, which I think is actually a thing in DC Comics. And it might be a show we get in the future, because they said there's not going to be a Peacemaker Season 3. So my guess is maybe they're turning into a Checkmate series. That'd be my guess. And then Amelia finally admits to Chris, like, yes, that night on the boat, it did mean everything to me. You know, because in the final episode we actually see what happened. They're out for drinks together, and then they went on this boat, and then while they're listening to this band, they end up kissing, and then like she ran off, and this whole time it's like you kind of wonder what happened. So I actually saw it. Flag is sending like Argus agents into these different doors to find something. They don't even know what. I guess just an inhabitable planet. That's all they really know. You know, like similar to Earth. For resources, the excuse they give us, or he gives them, we see some different ones. We see ones like these like little like imp things that end up killing one of the guys, like ripping his face off. There's a door that's just straight up a fucking black hole. I don't know how there's a door in space, but that's a thing. There's a zombie universe. That's a nice little reference to Deceased. I literally have that comic sitting right over there, like on my shelf. And they finally find an Earth that seems pretty like ours, but maybe just there's no humans there. And they call it Salvation, which is actually a storyline from the comics, which James Gunn says is going to have a big impact on the future of this DC universe. So that's interesting. So then one night when Chris is just going back home, he gets kidnapped by Argus agents, and then they put him in this other dimension. And then Flag's like, this is for Ricky, a piece of shit. So they leave him there in this other dimension, and then you hear like some kind of dinosaur noise or something like that, and that's kind of where they end it. And I definitely agree with the statement that the last episode felt like maybe 20 minutes of it was a finale of Peacemaker with the characters, and then the rest of it was just set up for the future of the DC universe, which I know that they did want to have some setup, which is fine, but I feel like it shouldn't have been more than half of the hour-long episode, you know? So where they go with Peacemaker and the rest of the team, it's really up in the air right now. I don't imagine the DC projects next year are going to acknowledge it, which is it's Lantern, Supergirl, and Clayface, and I feel like none of those will have anything to do with it. So it probably won't be until Man of Tomorrow when we actually get to see what that's going to be. Overall, I really did enjoy Peacemaker Season 2, but the finale was not that satisfying. I thought the finale of Season 1 was a lot stronger, because it felt like just a conclusion of the story. And there wasn't too much like setup for what was to come. But overall, I still enjoyed the show, and I'm curious to see where they're going to take these characters. Anyway, so I think I've rambled on long enough, so thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. See ya.